The second generation of the K-Swiss Hypercourt Supremes offers great stability and durability. Find our thoughts here.
The original K-Swiss Hypercourt Supreme is one of my favorite tennis shoes of all time, so I was really excited to try this updated second version. And as soon as I slipped them on my feet, I could tell they were a little bit more substantial feeling. They did have a bit of a more true to medium fit rather than the slightly more generous fit that I got in the originals. So it did take me a couple of hours to break these in. Initially, they felt a little snug for my wider feet through the midfoot, and I adjusted the lacing. Also adjusting the lacing is after probably in my first hour, I decided that I wanted to use the last eyelet because I was having a little bit of heel slippage. Once I adjusted that lacing system though, I really had locked in my heel and I was very comfortable. And after the 2 hours, I was feeling a really good underfoot cushioning and also heel to toe transition. I did find these to play more substantial than the original version, so I was getting loads of stability and lots of support. They did feel a little bit heavier on court, however, than those originals, but I really liked the secure feeling I was getting. As far as traction, I always felt confident in staying upright, and I also am very pleased with the durability. I'm seeing little to no wear both on the toes and the outsoles, and I've easily worn these shoes on the hard courts for 15 hours. Overall, although I did find these shoes to be a little bit different and more of a stable option than that previous Hypercourt Supreme, I did enjoy these after that couple-hour break-in.
First thing I noticed about this update is that K-Swiss has made it a bit more substantial, so it feels a little bit heavier and a little more stable. Just walking down to the court, it feels like it's got a wider outrigger than previous versions. It felt a little slappy, however, that went away as soon as I started moving, thankfully, so I didn't feel slow or weighed down on the court. But I am super impressed with the durability of this shoe. As Tiffany mentioned, we've been wearing this one for weeks. Very little wear on the outsole, so really impressed that K-Swiss has added that to this match day shoe. For me, it fits my medium width feet just perfect. I could use a tiny bit more support, but I didn't feel like I was ever gonna roll over in the shoe or anything. All in all, this is gonna be a nice option for someone that's looking for a stable, sturdy shoe, and it's gonna look great on and off the court.
I was a big fan of the previous generation of this Hypercourt Supreme. It was in my top 3 shoes for the last couple of years, so I was really excited to get this update to see how it compares. Now, the first thing I noticed was when I slipped the shoes on my feet was I found it had a better glove-like feel for my narrow width feet, so I found it really hugged. The uppers really hugged my feet well, and I felt really secure within the shoes. The second thing I noticed that was a little bit different was a break-in period for me. I had about 3 to 4 hours on court and off court before I felt like the shoes started to flex a little bit better, as well as the cushioning started to break in, specifically on the heel. Now, like the other playtesters, I did find these shoes to be a little bit more substantial feeling. I definitely had a clunky sensation right at the beginning. I didn't feel like the shoe was transitioning well heel to toe. Kind of similar to like a barricade in the sense that I needed a good break-in period. But over time, the longer I wore these shoes, the better they felt. I started to transition a little bit better, and I found that the shoes were really starting to mold around my feet, and I was a little bit quicker on court. The 2 highlights of this shoe for me was stability and durability. They are great stable shoes, especially for my ankles that need a little bit extra support, as well as that durability is top notch. I've put 10+ hours on these shoes. I'm not seeing any wear, and I put them in the top 3 on the market today. Like the previous iteration, I found the traction to be a little bit on the stickier side. I got a little bit more grip than give. Overall, this shoe is not going to replace the previous generation for me, as I'm looking for something a little bit quicker, somewhere that kind of lands in between the lightweight shoe and the more substantial shoe. But college or junior Brittany would have really loved these shoes, as I found they played pretty similar to my choice of shoe back then, which was the Nike Breathe Free 2s. Now that wraps up our playtest here on the West Coast. I'm now going to toss it over to our playtester in our East Coast location. Jofi, how did the Hypercourt Supreme 2s work out for you?
Thanks, Britt. K-Swiss is famous for making some of the most comfortable shoes on the market, and the new Hypercourt Supreme 2 was no exception. When I first put the shoes on, I thought they were super well cushioned under heel. I started walking around just in the office for a little bit, and I thought they were just really amazingly plush under my foot. I will say that the shoes felt a bit too heavy for my liking right out of the box. I definitely think this new generation is a bit heavier than the previous one, and that combined with how well cushioned they were, sometimes I felt kind of stuck on the court, and I will say that unfortunately they did feel a bit clunky to me. As the playtest went on and I added some more hours of playtime in, the shoes felt a bit more flexible, so that clunkiness improved a little bit. Another outstanding feature of the shoe was its durability. I honestly did not see anywhere on the outsole or the upper. And I will honestly say that I think these shoes are probably the most durable shoes out in the market right now. When it comes to traction, the shoes were definitely more on the stickier side. Generally speaking, I prefer shoes that allow me to slide out of my shots or adjust a little bit there. So that's just something to keep in mind when it comes to traction. Another small thing I wanted to give a shout out to Casey's for is the shoelaces. I thought this almost like bead-like design at the end of the shoelaces when you tighten them up. That was really cool, really soft. I think it's a cool feature to stop the shoelaces from coming undone so easy. Lastly, I will add that unfortunately I did have a bit of discomfort around my right ankle throughout the playtest, which did improve as the hours went on, but it was still significant enough for me to mention. All in all, if you're looking for a comfortable, durable shoe option and you have liked K-Swiss shoes in the past, then you will be really happy with the new Hypercourt Supreme 2. Thank you for watching. For more information on this shoe or any others, please go check out Tennis Warehouse, Tennis Warehouse Europe, or Tennis Only.